KRFO interview now with Blooming Prairie girls golfer Taylor Christianson, who qualified for the state tournament for the second straight year. She's a sophomore, and she played her section meet at Willow Creek in Rochester. Taylor, tell us about the format. I know round one was Wednesday before the long Memorial Day weekend, and then you wait several days, come back and play round two, which was this past Tuesday, and it was a rainy day.
It was rough with the big gap in between, but the first day I felt like crap, played like crap, but I had 39 putts with the 89, and then the second day was just crappy altogether, but I ended up pulling through for an 84.
Yep, 84 the second day, end up being the medalist with that total of 174. And you returned to the state tournament in Becker, Pebble Creek. We'll talk about that in a second. But again, in terms of preparing for that round on Tuesday, and I understand you had a rough start on the first hole, and it was raining, and, a pretty miserable day to be outside anyway, much less playing golf. How'd you get through it?
Well, normally I just kind of go hole by hole and tell myself, okay, you want this just as much as everybody else, so you need to try your hardest to get out there and go hole by hole and par one hole and then say to yourself, okay, now I can do this.
How would you assess how your season has gone overall?
Really, the season has gone really well. I keep improving every meet, and it's just been really good.
Okay, so state tournament in Becker coming up here June 8th to the 9th, and again, you've got a gap of time to work on your game. First off, who's been there to help you move your game along? Obviously, you've got Coach Vigeland, Coach Peterson, your parents, and then I know you're working with golf pro Aaron Ressler. Who's been kind of helping you get sharp for this big event?
Aaron really helps me a lot with my swing, knowing what to do if it gets off or how to work with it. But also my dad helps me with the mental part of it, where you can do this and you're good enough.
When I was golfing, you didn't have many fans until you got to state. Then finally people would show up. But as I kind of bounced around to a couple of these meets, I noticed that's changed. There's people walking with every group. And what's that like to play for an audience?
It's a little nerve-wracking, but once you get used to it, it gives you more hope. Like, oh, they believe in you and you really can do this.
Blooming Prairie golfer Taylor Christianson joining us here. The state tournament last year, I think you shot a 195, put you middle of the pack somewhere. Pebble Creek and Becker it's a 27-hole course. I think it's been a while since I've played it, but it's pretty nice. Tell us about it. What are the challenges versus the courses you normally play?
It's more of one of those courses where you can't use a driver off every hole. You have to be able to lay up and then be able to take a longer iron from the second shot. And the greens are harder to read, but as long as you know where water is, the greens always break towards the water and you'll be fine.
Are you playing the same 18 holes every day or each day, or do they rotate, or how does that work?
No, we play the same 18.
Okay, and now, so laying up off the tee, I would think that would be a bit of a disadvantage to you because you're one of the longer hitters out there, right?
Yeah. I mean, as long as you know that you're confident with your longer irons and your second shot and you hit that green, you'll be just fine.
How was the experience last year? Obviously, your first trip up there. What did you learn, and what can you take into this year from that?
You have to walk in knowing that you got there, and that's a big accomplishment, but that you can't go in there and think, okay, I'm going to win this. You have to go in there thinking, okay, well, I'm here. That's one thing, and then take it hole by hole, not by one big score.
You mentioned the mental part of the game and your dad kind of helping you along in that way. How do you, because things go wrong, obviously, in the golf, no one's going to come out and help you during the round. It's a long day. How do you kind of, what things do you do to sort of get yourself over the mental hump when things aren't going well?
Normally, I just say I get like a double bogey on a hole. I normally just go, okay, now let's come back with a par on this next one, and you'll be just fine if you par out the rest of the holes. I mean,
yeah, not all of us can think that way. That's a good way of thinking, though. And then also, like I said, between now and June 8th, which is a few days away here, what are you going to be doing in terms of practice? I know Blooming Prairie Country Club is where you normally play, but certainly there's, that doesn't provide the same challenges as a course like Pebble Creek. What types of things are you going to do to stay focused and ready?
Normally we would go out to the country club, but we're actually going to Hayfield to the driving range, and then now that school is over, I can be practicing during the day with my dad and with Vigeland, where we just go out and play 9 holes.
All right, very good. Taylor Christianson, Blooming Prairie girls golfer. She's back at state for a second year, and she's only a sophomore. This is KRFO Radio and KRFORadio.com.